There we go. Is Monday the 11th or Tuesday the 11th?
Monday is no, Monday's the 10th, Tuesday's the 11th, Wednesday is my birthday. Thank you.
Happy birthday, big boy. All right. Anybody else? New properties to pitch? Okay. Ari, how about gratitude? What are you thankful for this week? Or a win that you've had? You are all so
I
quiet.
I have one.
All right, Judy.
Okay, well, I want to thank you, Ashley, because every Friday, Ashley does the most incredible mastermind, and I don't know how I can uh, explain how valuable this is, and I wish more people were taking advantage of it. Ashley has so much to give, and she gives so generously, and I would like to see people taking advantage of it because it's just amazing what she has to give. Thank you, Ashley.
Well, thank you for that, Judy. We have fun on Fridays. Okay. Anybody else?
I want to give gratitude to Emily Holmes for coming into my office today and telling me I'm the best broker ever on the planet.
Yeah, that's definitely what I said. Love you.
I will,
I'm glad that's what you heard.
Robert, I should have told you this last week. I did run into somebody at Inman who chose to leave Metro for another market center a while ago. And she said, she literally did say, there is not a better broker in the world than Robert, even though she's at another office.
Did you get it in print?
I think I got it in recording. All right. Anybody else?
I'll give gratitude to Emily, as well as a few other agents that reached out to me. I had a vendor need that I posted in our Facebook group, and the fact that this group is so willing to share to help everyone through extension is great, and it just makes us all look better to our people. So thank you, Em, and thank you. I think Akasa and Gaga reached out, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's a really good point. The collaboration that we have is incredible, and I know for a fact our agents don't tolerate mediocrity. So if you do need a good vendor for pretty much anything, always go to that Facebook page and ask. I think it's really rare where we can't crowdsource somebody locally. All right. Mega Camp. It is in 2 weeks. I know a lot of people are not attending this year. So, what you all do need to know is pretty much your whole leadership team will be there. So, for that week, August 17th through 20th, I would encourage you, whatever you need, get it before we leave the Friday before. We will obviously be on devices. However, it's a 2 hour time difference, and we will be very busy in different educational settings. I will ask here if we hosted a live stream in the office of a lot of the events, how many of you would attend? A couple? Okay. Let's, Ari, if you would make a note and let's ask that question on the Facebook page, see if we can get a few more. We can do that. I just don't want to commit to it without having a decent amount of people engaged and there. It will start 2 hours. There's a 2 hour time difference. So when we're in San Antonio and watching a keynote speaker at 8 in the morning, it's going to be 6 in the morning, which I doubt any of you are going to be in the office. But we could always start at 8:30 or 9 as new content was coming out. Okay, next. Productivity coaching spotlight.
Yeah, this is
Spotlight.
really exciting. I saw her on here. I don't know if she's on camera though, but everybody give a huge, huge, huge shout out to Yvette. She closed her third escrow with a buyer that she met at an open house um, for a lot of money, over our average price point. And because it's her third one, she actually graduated from the coaching program. So she is going to be elevating her commission, what's that called? Split. Yeah, split. I'm just really excited for her and happy for her. And open houses work, guys. Do them.
Only takes one decent visitor to make an open house worth it. All right. Good job, Yvette. And Jacqueline.
We have a lot of people to thank this month. I want to thank everybody whose face is on this screen for having a closing with us in July. Congratulations, you guys. I feel it that you guys are often working harder to get a listing all the way to the finish line than in recent past. And so I see your work. We appreciate you. We're proud to be your partner in every transaction. And it was a great month for us. So we're really excited to work with all of you as we go forward. And this is my AI face. Isn't that creepy? But I wanted a slide to take a moment to say thank you. Something came up when we were in a leadership call, and compliance mentioned something to us that I wanted to bring up that I didn't realize was happening. So first of all, I wanted to say thank you because some of you are writing us in either on your RPA or in your listing presentations when you're speaking with your seller clients. You're letting them know that you have an awesome partner called Escrow Partners. Apparently, sometimes the ABAD, the affiliated business arrangement disclosure, is not being turned in at the same time. And so we just wanted to make sure that you knew that if you were recommending working with escrow partners, whether it's on the seller side or the buyer side, we would love to have you fill out that disclosure, have your client sign that disclosure at the time. It's the same if you're working with the team at Movement Mortgage. It's the same if you're working with Keller Mortgage, right? There's other companies on that list that have affiliated business arrangements. So for us, for escrow partners, if you would fill that out at the initial time of discussing us as a partner, we would greatly appreciate that. I know compliance would love it. The QR code on the screen does take you directly to the current ABAD form. If for some reason you need this, let me know. I'm happy to send you over the link directly if this is something that's going to be coming up for you in the next week or so. But we promised compliance we would share that message. So please don't forget your affiliated business arrangement disclosure. And then as a prize for doing that, we have the market report. So as you know, I pull this at the first of the month. So this is the stats for July since we're in August. So this is closed sales data only for last month. I will say that the the total number of sold listings in the county in the month of July was actually fairly flat to the month of June. So we're in the 2,200 range. And remember that's both a buy and a list side off of that. So it's really closer to the 4,400 amount. But we just wanted to let you know that those stats will be posted today at 1:45. So in 3 minutes, this will go up on the internal Facebook page. Feel free to download the image, use in your story, add your info. We always hope that it generates conversation. Enjoy.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, Broker Bob.
I want to celebrate all the agents on here and in the office that always do the right thing and make sure if they have a new purchase agreement or if they have a listing, even if it's not in escrow, they submit it to compliance for a review within 2 business days. That really helps with the review process because our number one goal is to make sure you get your checks paid on time. And it helps if you have the compliance review on that done and up to speed so that we make sure that we have a quick turnaround at doing that. That really helps us. So thank you to everybody that does that. If you're not part of that elite group, well, hopefully you'll become part of that elite group and you'll get a gold star on your little compliance review process. So thank you very much for those that do it. And also, if you have a rush escrow, what's a rush? Anything less than 21 days. So remember, there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes to get your checks in time. And without your approval on all of your documents being uploaded and your transaction approved by the compliance team, we can't guarantee that you'll have a check done on time. So please, please, please make sure if you've got a 21 days or less that you or your TC will flag that with compliance and let them know, hey, we're on a time crunch. Let's get going because there's a lot of moving parts on it. We get it. Thank you.
Okie dokie. All right. Wow, this one's going fast. Okay, so for many of you who have been to the Keller Williams events, I got the reminder last week that our events are unbelievably good. I went to Inman, which was just downtown San Diego. It was at the Marriott. It was my first time attending any of the Inman conferences. And honestly, I would not have attended had I not been given a ticket. It's actually an incredibly expensive event. And on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give it a 2. It was not great. However, there were some very good, a handful of good takeaways that I want to share with you guys today. Let me see if I can get the right screen up. I apologize. Again, my Zoom updated and it does not look like it usually does. Has anybody been to an Inman conference before? There it is.
No, and I won't be going now.
It's tough. Because of the name of Inman, they're able to pull some top tier industry professionals, which was good. But the keynote speakers that they had were fairly weak. And the energy was so low. I went to one breakout session. It had 3 people in it. So you fly in a speaker who's speaking on a book, and 3 people were in attendance.
Yeah, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, it was not great. And yet it was an almost 3 full day event. So what I told the team was, I would say 10% of the time I was there was really, really valuable. And that's what I took the time to bring back to you guys. So can you see the screen? Yes?
Yes.
No? Okay, awesome. Hi, Ian. I can see you. You were just in your car. You did a quick change.
I do amazing things.
All right, so here we go. Let's jump in. A large portion of the week was dedicated to AI because that's kind of the focus of the entire business world right now. I will make a recommendation. The one keynote that really blew me away, his name is Zach Cass. I came home immediately, watched everything he has on YouTube, and bought his book. What I loved about this is he is intentional about taking an optimistic view of AI in the medium and long term. So we all know right now what it can do, or that it can do a lot for our businesses, and there's different tools out there that we can utilize. That's kind of the high level right now benefit. But you also probably have heard a lot of concern about years out. What's going to happen when all the jobs are gone and all the robots take over and all that? He addresses that. He actually used to work for the Chat GPT company and is very much in the space of trying to create moral and ethical rules by which we can legislate AI. So what he said that I wanted you guys to hear, number one, for your clients, because we're an industry rich in fraud or attempted fraud and wire fraud and all those things. We also have family members who may fall into some traps. I know over the last couple of years, we've had some agents in our brokerage that have been duped because so much of the cybercrime they're really good at, and it's getting better. So what he said was last year, 2025, there was $8 billion in losses for senior fraud issues. I'll give you, when my mom was still alive, I'll give you a personal example. She was getting calls on her cell phone from the IRS saying she had back taxes and she had to immediately wire certain amount of money or they were going to come to the house. It happened several times over a 2 or 3 year period. Luckily, well, we weren't taken. But that's just one thing that happened 5 years ago, not even in the time of AI, where there's deep fakes that are incredibly convincing. So based on all the technology that's now available, they're anticipating in 2026 that number will be 12 billion in losses for seniors who get duped. Just to help make your clients and your families aware of There's a lot of fishing expeditions out there. The next percentage is the number of transactions that are done by the top 10 brokerages in the country. In the last 6 months, we've seen a tremendous amount of consolidation among the brokerages. And what's happening, honestly, is consumers are getting, from a company standpoint, consumers are getting less of a choice. 62% of the transactions closed in 2024 were done by the top 10 brokerages, as compared to 48% that just in 2017, that there were more companies involved. That was 2024 data. They project, because Compass acquired all those companies and all the consolidation, they're predicting that 80% of the deals will be done by 10% of the brokerages. That's tremendous consolidation in the industry. So just keep your eyes on it. Inman itself is going in a new direction. For those of you who've been around a while, Inman has kind of been known as what started as a legitimate news source in real estate and kind of became a tabloid. Under the direction of the founder, he really went in a direction to just steal the headlines and get your attention, which often was throwing gasoline on burning fires, and or starting their own controversies. The new CEO, who's only been there 6 months, wants to take it back to being a legitimate news source. And they're creating a product that's called Innman 2.0, that his vision, it will be the Bloomberg, which I hadn't heard of what that means before, but that will be the Bloomberg of real estate. So his intention is that what they're putting together would be so important for you to operate your real estate business. It'd be the first website you jump on every day. It will give you rates, any changes governmentally you would need to know about, all the industry news, through just an actual news lens, not a media lens, so to speak. Okay. And what they're asking for is Inman 2.0 will be able to give us kind of the national scope of things, but they want 1,000 of you guys, 1,000 agents amongst 50 states, to raise their hands to be reporters on the ground and provide content that's local to what's important going on in San Diego. So if anybody's interested in having one of those roles, I would say jump on the Inman website and raise your hand. They are actively seeking out local voices for that. Okay, day 2 statistics. This one blew my mind because I know what we're doing and what a lot of our agents are really endeavoring to do. 73% of homeowners, real estate consumers, want agent video. They desire it. 73%, which kind of makes sense because how many videos do you watch a day? So all of our consumers who are probably under the age of 80 are watching videos constantly. And yet only 9% of realtors are actually making their own video content. Does that surprise anybody else? 9%. I thought it would be much higher than that, but it's not. So the message here is we may not want to see ourselves on video, but our clients want to. So we got to get over it. As a brokerage, I want to work on making this much more accessible and easy for you all to do, because it's not going away and the demand for it's only going to increase.
When they're saying video content, agent video content, what exactly do they say specifics?
They didn't say specifics, but a lot of the focus was on short form. So whether it's reels, the shorts on YouTube and or TikTok, those are what consumers are going to. So obviously they're not 1 or 2 hour buyer seminars. They just want quick information. Okay. And then that related to the kind of the transition into really starting to program whatever large language model you're working with, meaning Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, to bring you up in the results. Already, SEO, so people going to Google and searching, has dropped depending on the area of the country, 20 to 40%. People are not searching on Google to find the realtor. Your pay-per-click advertising or your organic search results are not going to, probably never will yield the same result that you could have gotten 2, 3, 4 years ago. So the trick now becomes being one of the go-to sources that the large language models are pulling information from. So you have to post content in order to get ranked in the large language models. And that is long form content, whether it's video on YouTube, because Google will like that, or blogs. And making sure you write and update pretty consistently. I have a list of apps later that I'll show you that they suggest. 2 of them really surprised me. Their message to brokerage owners, so me, was that we need to be clear that, of course, the agent brand is more important than the brokerage brand. And it's our job as the brokerage, which I think we understand pretty well, to make you the hero to your clients. So the behind the scenes support, reducing friction in your business life, so you can show up for your client and spend the majority of time there, is really what we're here to do. The brand, no matter what brand it is, especially the ones that have been more brand forward, I won't say names, but you can imagine who they are, who think the power is in the brand, need to be clear that they need to come back and be the support behind the agent and prop the agent up. That's where the industry is going. Okay, this was good. Stop spray and pray messaging. Everybody, even the people who are deep in the tech sector, said the most important thing you can do as a realtor is double down on your relationship skills and get in deeper relationship with your clients. Use technology, use the AI tools to automate as much as you possibly can to increase the number of individualized conversations or very specific conversations to a subset of your database that you're having. The spray and pray marketing effect is just not going to be as effective anymore. So individualized messaging for those that need it, and deepening the interpersonal relationships. Don't template agents. So from our perspective, Jacqueline, we're not going to make everybody fit into a box. We have to figure out how to more effectively make 250 small boxes so that everything has an individualized feel. Personalize at scale, which is where AI comes into play. If you've got a marketing message that you want to personalize, it's much easier to do with some of these AI tools, instead of having to write off, let's call it your top 50 individual messages. Utilize the AI tools in order to help speed up that process. And hyper local. You guys know this from stats. I give you the county-wide stat numbers, which is helpful to just wrap your head around kind of the macro outlook. But if you're going on a listing appointment, those numbers aren't really going to help you. You have got to get hyper local. That's how all your messaging should be. Okay. Invest in agent support over pure visual branding. Essentially, the way these experts were telling us is that it's not as important to you as an agent to have all of the branding done for you as it is to have the pain points in your transactions, the pain points in your technology reduced. So it's really about doing the activities that help leverage you from a brokerage standpoint versus providing you marketing. What do you guys think about that? Is it more important to you to have leverage and less friction in your business, or have us advertise and create advertising for you?
Leverage.
Yeah, I thought so. Reduce the friction. Okay, take a deep breath. We're going through this really quick, and we can come back and go deeper on some of it. I made the slides, but I've got all the written back up right here. Take a deep breath, because there's some shocking things coming up. Number one, this is just post-COVID, so post-2020. The typical mortgage has gone up by 2x, 200%. But incomes have only gone up 1.3 times, 130%. So, not that this is news to us, it's less affordable now than it was. And what they're projecting with interest rates and all the global uncertainty is that affordability is going to continue to widen. That affordability gap is going to continue to widen for a while. The next slide is the one that shocked me. And I am working on booking a demo with the whole leadership team next Monday for our regular leadership call. I want this company to do a demo for us. 30,000 realtors in the United States were attacked last year on the job. Anybody else absolutely flabbergasted at that number? The next one, 24 were actually murdered. Now, in my 27-year career, I've known about 3 agents that were murdered. I had no idea that 24 were last year. Obviously, this isn't getting a lot of media attention. So, yeah, Yvette, yeah. There's a company called Domi. If you want to look it up, you absolutely can on your own. I'm going to see if we can incorporate it as a brokerage service for you guys. You spell it DOMII. And it's an app on your phone that allows you to designate 5 emergency contacts and tracks pretty much everything you do. There's a lot of different functions to it, but it is a good first line of safety for you as you're out with people you may have just met for the first time. Anyway, I want to not be alarmist, but also be a realist and say, obviously, we have to be situationally aware as we're doing this business and take steps to ensure that friends, family, coworkers know where you are when you're showing houses, especially if you're meeting people for the first time.
So when you say on the job,
meaning it wasn't their spouse that killed them. It was a prospective client that either attacked and or killed them.
Yeah, because we've talked about safety and security with just, not having an exit door here in the rear at our office. That's an issue. So yeah, I'm glad you're talking about bringing in or talking about this.
Yeah.
Because I even have a concern as being the managing broker, because I get the onslaught of calls from really pissed off clients.
Well, and I know just to this year, a couple of them have come right into the office for you.
Yeah, they have hunted me down.
Yeah.
So.
And I thank you for saying that to the 23 people on here. It probably doesn't occur to most of you that would actually be a thing. But if you have an agitated client, it's not out of the question that they're going to come harass Robert physically. All right. The highlight for me for the week was that Tom Horn, the CEO of Innman, interviewed the relatively new CEO of NAR. For anybody who's been around for the last 3 to 5 years, you may remember that NAR went through a period of time when a lot of horrible things were disclosed. We first had the series of lawsuits that were painful, expensive, and obviously changed the industry about 2 years ago. But while that was going on, the CEO and president, let me give a little structure to this for those of you who may not know. With the National Association of Realtors, with the California Association of Realtors, even our local San Diego Association of Realtors, there's 2 levels of governance inside those organizations. One is the paid staff. 2 is a group of volunteer positions. So in all of the associations, you've got an actual CEO who is paid a salary to grow the organization, to make it more profitable, to grow the membership. And they do that in conjunction with a series of realtor volunteers who hold the other positions. So the CEO of NAR is a paid staff member, and the president is not. He's a volunteer. So I just want to make those things clear. The new CEO is a woman named Nikia, and it is the first time in my entire career that I heard a CEO of NAR be honest, non-political, and absolutely inspire me. And that takes a lot at this point. But I sat there just captivated by what she had to say about what she's doing at NAR to turn it around and where they're going. So what I wanted to come back and tell you is sometimes we sit back and we bitch about the amount of money we have to pay for all the associations, but at their highest level, these associations are there to protect property rights, to protect our ability to do business in fair ways. And even though we got away from that mission the last several years, they're fully focused on that again. So I'm not going to feel bad writing that check to make sure they're lobbying on our behalves. So how many of you have heard, you can either scream it out or raise your hand, have heard about the legislation that passed in the last 3 weeks? Passed the Senate, passed the House. The president refused to sign it, but after 24 hours, it became law that is going to make, hopefully, housing more affordable. We'll be increasing building and making some legislation so that investors can't buy every house that's available. Anybody heard about that? That was all driven by NAR. All of it. So that is one humongous thing that your association has done on all of our behalves, and quite successfully. And they've got a couple other huge packages like that they're trying to push through. So that's where their focus is. She did say this is the largest turnaround in real estate history because of the things that she came into and took on. They cut a lot of the staff that had been complacent and or dishonest, and she's rebuilt the organization. They cut about 70% of the organization, and she hired it all back, hired more talented people back in those roles. Okay. And he asked her if he thought real estate was kind of, on the downswing or if the best days were ahead. And she said, absolutely, the best days for our industry are ahead, with a whole lot of confidence. Okay, so overall market. Correctly priced homes are selling fast. We don't have a frozen market. We have a positioning and pricing problem because the market has shifted. In most markets in the country, agents are struggling with appropriate pricing. So we have a segment of sellers who aren't moving because they have the interest rates locked in under 4%. But we are tending to increase that sense of being frozen because we're overpricing way too many properties. So as an industry, we have to get better at pricing and positioning. 2026 home value growth is projected to be around 4%. They are projecting the number of sales that we thought we would have this year is going to be much lower. So for those of you who might remember, nationally, they were predicting that there would be between 4.1 and 4.2 million home sales this year. A lot of the people said they wouldn't be surprised if we fell below 4 million this year. So just FYI. And it's the rate uncertainty that is the main wild card. Agent retention hinges on visible, consistent support. So this is an industry-wide thing. I think at Metro, we understand this at a high level, but a lot of the movement that you're seeing in the industry is because as the market has shifted and companies in general have had to cut expenses, what they're cutting is support for the agents. So you may find people out in our marketplace who are used to getting more than they're currently getting with our brokerage. If they're good people, obviously send them to anybody on the leadership team to talk to. For those of you who have been around since Compass was doing the big sign-on checks when they were recruiting, apparently this is going on in some of the other large metropolitan cities. It's not happening in San Diego that I know of. But San Francisco, LA, New York are seeing other companies write clawbacks into the contracts for agents. So again, because Keller Williams has the ability to recruit nationwide, if you have friends, relatives, colleagues that you know other places that are subject to this clawback, all the companies are working to get them released from essentially contract prison. What it means is, let's say Emily says, you know what, I really do like Compass. I'm going to go over there, and they sign you up on a 5-year contract. In the small print on the contract is if they don't make, call it $200,000 a year on your production, you owe them that when you go to leave. And they're instituting that. So a couple of the stories that I heard were brokers at Sotheby's. The broker themselves is writing a $400,000 check to Berkshire Hathaway to get an agent away because that money is owed. So now broker to broker, they're paying these clawbacks. Yeah. Crazy. Very grateful it's not happening in San Diego. But again, if you have friends outside of or inside any of those areas where it's an issue, let us know, because the company is working to get them out of their contracts. Let's see. Agent safety is serious. Look at Domi. AI is expected to strengthen agents, not replace them. So this is one of the reasons all the tech gurus that were there said, really brush up on your relationship skills and start to make that the value, the center of the value you're articulating. Because you may all have clients that are doing hours of research on all the AI tools before they even come to you. So they think they know more about real estate than you do, or that Claude knows more about real estate than you do. But the strength of the relationship is actually what's going to maintain that client relationship, and ensure that they trust you to get the deal done. Have any of you had to fight so far with a client because Claude advised them to do something that you wouldn't advise them to do? Not yet. It's coming, Alicia. It's coming. Because again, these large language models are taking data from all over the country, and it's still hallucinating. So real estate is very different here than it is, let's say, in Winston-Salem, where you have to have radon inspections. So if you have a buyer come to you and say, "Are we going to test for radon?" We don't do that. But in the short term, there's still going to be those hallucinations. This is going to be especially painful unless the relationship is very, very good, around pricing as the market continues to cool.
I did get the radon one already.
Did you?
Yeah, but they're from New Jersey, so they just didn't know we didn't have radon. They didn't use ChatGPT.
Okay.
But I have had some ChatGPT stuff, but it's been so like easy to get rid of. I don't even remember what they said.
Yeah. Okay. I just saw a chat go up, or let's see what was asked. Yeah, Joe, good. Clients, I mean, we can expect them to use AI during the process. Most of us are using it for a lot. And I think over time it will become better. But if we don't want to be replaced as the expert, we need to make sure that relationship is really, really tight. Oh, you got the radon one, Jacqueline. All right. Real estate remains a people-to-people business. Nuance, hyper-local context, because it's the hyper-local context that's going to be really hard for AI to get good at, because it needs the content to be hyper-local focused in order for it to read the content and then regurgitate that back out, which again is why they said become the hyper-local expert and start publishing all of your hyper-local context, because there's nowhere else that the AI bots can go get that info now. This is the time you want to position yourself for that. So think about yourself. if you let's see, who do I see on here? Well, Alicia, I see you both in the room and on your screen. So you live in Mission Valley. Yeah. If you were looking for a new restaurant, having lived in San Diego forever now, how would you search that? What would you put into one of the chats?
I was looking for new. Get an echo. I would probably just say most recent opened, something like that, or like hottest restaurant
Well,
in
new to you.
Bonita. I
Yeah.
would do something
Okay.
like that.
So hottest restaurant, Bonita, would you put, you probably would put vegetarian in there.
Yeah.
So if you're doing that, it's likely other people are too. So from a realtor standpoint, you need to be that specific. Bonita, new, fresh, hot, vegetarian. How would that translate into real estate? I'm in town Hamul with residential, not rural properties. If I can start writing content just around that, that is where AI is going to pull from versus something that's much more generalized. Okay. That's the frame of reference I want you all to start thinking about as you continue to be content creators. Less general, more specific. All right, and then I did use AI to create this, just for those of you that are visual, all that same content in some graphics. Right. Number one mission for NAR with us, the members, is to build trust. And honestly, that should be our mission with our clients. Always about being the most trustworthy source of info for the people you're serving. Depending on if we get this Domi app for all of you, if that's possible, that will take care of the agent safety, but I'm not going to have it tomorrow. It's definitely several weeks out before we have that. In the meantime, in an ongoing fashion, please start being situationally aware when you are doing any kind of open houses or meeting with clients for the first time, and have somebody who's aware of where you are and check in with them. Right? The affordability gap is getting rough and going to get rougher. However, it has not frozen the market. There are still plenty of people who are buying and selling. It just happens to be at the top of the K if we talk about a K-shaped economy. So the people who are upper middle class and above are still transacting regularly. The ones that are middle class and below are only going to transact if a transition impacts them. So we've talked a lot about the 4Ds, death, divorce, devastation, downsizing. Those are transitions, and traditional transactions will still follow those transitions. Okay, got to get our pricing right. We had an agent today call me and ask for my opinion on a potential listing that they're taking. Please do that. You can reach out to all of us on the leadership team to help get some extra eyes on listings. This is not a market where you want to take a chance and get the price wrong. And we definitely want you to capitalize on every opportunity you get sitting at the kitchen table. Let's get the contract done with a price that's appropriate. Nationally, we should see still 4% appreciation for homes. What this doesn't say, and you guys are feeling it here, well, going deep into stats next week, you'll have more info. Houses are continuing to appreciate because it's demand, supply and demand. In the country, I had no idea the number was this big, but the country deficit in homes needed to meet the current demand is 4.2 million homes. I knew in San Diego we have a deficit. That's why our prices continue to go up. But nationally, we're 4 million homes short from what we would need to meet the demand. Now, that isn't condos. It's not all housing units. It's houses. On condos, we're going to see a continued softening, a until we hit whatever bottom it's going to be. Okay. The Midwest is still as affordable as it gets in the country, but they're having affordability challenges. The West Coast, which is your market, is supply constrained, which is why, again, the prices continue to go up. It continues to be a seller's market. And the Northeast is seeing people move out of their city centers and more rurally. So they're going into secondary markets because they've been priced out of Boston or any of the bigger cities in the Northeast. So their secondary markets are growing very quickly. All right. And then just to recap on the AI, SEO is out. Figuring out how to be found AEO is your next part-time job. And then I did subscribe to this. You guys know I don't push a whole bunch of software, but you should at least go look at Hey Gen. Go spend some time on their website and see what it does. I talked about this on Friday at the Mastermind. It's an incredibly effective and convincing avatar generator. So it essentially makes a clone of you where if you don't like to make your own videos or you don't have enough time, I wish Kiara was on here. You could use HeyGen to make hundreds of videos a day with you because it clones you. This was so convincing. They showed 4 different videos. One was the actual person, one was the AI generated version, and in the audience of 800 people, we could not, in the 4 scenarios it showed, we couldn't figure out which one was AI versus which one was real. It's become that good. Essentially, what that would mean for those of you who don't like to do video, you could just type in prompts, give it a script, and it literally has, I could do it here with my regular background and it would look like me sitting here telling you whatever script I wrote. And they said use case studies. Stories sell everything. So anytime we're in an office and we're sharing things that have happened, turn that into a case study and tell the story in a video. That gets the engagement way up. So when it says case study, think story. You're just storytelling, but make it a real one. And then Jeff Lopp. So the last thing I want to say on AI, if you do want to be found in the AI search, AEO, these are the tools he said are the most effective. You don't have to use all of them, but get consistent on at least 2 of them. So your Google business profile, which we've kind of been harping on, that has to be done appropriately and verified. YouTube Shorts, LinkedIn, Fast Expert. That one surprised me, but he said it's because there's not a whole lot of competition there, and the AI bots have been aimed there to pull information. Reddit surprised me. He said, though, if you are going to do Reddit, you have to commit to being really, really active because the engagement on Reddit is better than any of the other tools. And if you don't get right back to people, it looks like you have a dead channel. So that is a big time commitment. And then, of course, Yelp. Now, Robert, you have been, tell us how your success so far has been with your new blog posts.
Well, I wouldn't say it's success, but it's time and energy to put the stuff together. And the longer I do it, the more streamlined I'm making it. And I'm using it basically for content to push out there, which eventually will kick in and help. There's
how long ago did you start it?
Kind of like a month after family reunion. So that was what, February? So April,
So
March.
a month after reunion would have been late March.
Like April or May is when I really started kicking in. And the last 2 months now, I'm pushing out 2 Substack articles a week.
Okay.
And I've got the rhythm down about what I'm posting each month and the cadence to it.
Okay, so that's important. You went from being brand new on Substack with no subscribers to how many now?
Oh, it's still low. It's painfully low, but it'll
Two?
take that one article to get a lot more attention. I was featured in the KW how to build a um, what was it? They did a playbook on it, and I was featured in that. Somehow somebody there picked up on my Substack.
Okay. How
There was
many
one
views do
thing.
you
Go
how
ahead.
many views do you think you're getting? Do you have tools you can see that?
You know, yeah, and I'm less focused on looking on that right now. I'm more about getting the content pushed out because it is a time commitment. I'm realizing, and there's tools within Substack that I'm not all that adept with, and I'm learning how to do all that.
Okay.
Like
So
I
there's a
just
learning
literally
curve and there's
started
time, but
instead of
you're the only broker I know of locally doing that. So there's no
yeah,
competition.
yeah.
And again, all of you who are on this screen can pick a subject that's specific enough to you that you're not going to have competition. And that's what I would encourage you to do. And then just get your real estate kind of layered in there.
And my stuff is geared towards two things. It's geared towards the agent to understand the market in San Diego. So for you guys on this call, when you want to speak to the market to your people, I've broken it down in some real good numbers so you can speak to it. So you sound like you know what you're talking about. And then I'm also talking about the MLS fights and the first point of entry, all that stuff. So I'm talking for that for the broad community. There is one thing you mentioned, I will say, and one of the articles I wrote was about the getting the homes price right. We have a pricing problem. Well, we have that pricing problem because NAR stats are 70% of the agents have gotten their license after 2010. And if you've gotten your license after 2010, you've only been in an up market. So if you're not educated enough to understand how to have a pricing consultation with a seller, that is why I believe we are having homes that might sit on the market a little bit longer because it's an agent that doesn't really know how to price the home properly or speak to the seller about time on the market and positioning that home on the market. I don't think it's a function of it being the demand not there. I think it's a lot of agents, if they're not trained, overprice it right out of the gate.
100%. Yep. Okay. Anybody else? Questions, comments, surprises? Again, 3 days, and that's what I could call out of that 3 days to say it'd be worth sharing. But I was inspired again by the NAR and the uplifting look at how AI can make the world a better place. Zach, again, to kind of finish with him, said we as consumers need to take more responsibility about the direction of AI and get involved locally, governmental wise, state level, and national. He said if you could go back and influence how social media was regulated and rolled out in 2008, 9, 10, would you take that opportunity? Some of the stats that he shared, nothing to do with real estate, just general information about our country. The levels of critical thinking have gone way down. And it's not just because of how addicted we are to our devices, but tools like AI have just made information so accessible. We're not putting an emphasis on critical thinking. I don't have children. I look at most of you like my kids, but when I think about what our consuming public is going to be like without critical thinking skills in 5, 10, 15 years, it's terrifying. So if we can influence and regulate, have any voice in that with AI, which is going to be more dominant technology than social even is, then we need to take responsibility and do that.
So, Ashley, can you expand on the AI topic? I know you've been kind of uh, glass half full on some of that recently.
Well,
But did this change your mind on that in any way?
I appreciate the question, Joe. It gave me a different frame of reference and a different filter through which to look, which was good because I do see and I do appreciate the value of what I personally can use AI for now. And yes, it terrifies me of what's possible and coming down the line. So I wouldn't even say I'm a longer term glass half empty person. I would say I'm a glass almost empty person. Because I do think it's going to upset our job markets in a massive way we're not ready for, and so on. Um, so here's the different frame, and I kind of just said it. Zach says that is likely all going to happen, but we're not powerless in it. We're only powerless in it if we stay uninformed or we stay still. So the history hasn't been made yet. We're in the time to make the history. So we have to, if we want a better outcome, then we need to be part of a better outcome. That's the difference. And he said that and I might get t-shirts made with this because I don't think it was a planned quote from him, but it really stuck with me. He said, optimism is a moral imperative. And I went, oh, that's so true because almost all the media messages you're getting, all the 5,000 interruptions you're having a day, they're not optimistic messages coming in, are they?
No.
So as a leader, optimism is a moral imperative. I thought, yeah, because what's the alternative? I don't want to live in a non-optimistic future if I can help it.
Well,
So
you were
it's got to
talking.
start with us.
You were talking earlier about that Google is not being used as much for searches, but what's happening is the content is being indexed by Google, and then AI is going in and scraping it.
Oh, 100%.
So that's what's happening. And then
Yeah.
Also Google has they have Gemini, they have their own AI.
Well, it's by design. For those of you who have been on Google for years, you see how the results are different now. They are engineering it to go into their AI so they can scrape it. Be very careful. The rules of just using Google versus using your paid for Pro Gemini account are completely different. Your information's protected in your Pro account. It's not protected if you just Google it. That makes sense? So, and there's, I mean, 1,000 things we probably all have to learn every month as the technology changes. But the race to get to universal general intelligence is real, and they're using every advantage they possibly can, especially since there's no legislation limiting them, which is where I think we need to come in. Okay. Name of the book. Name of the book is The Next Renaissance with AI. AI and the expansion of human potential. All right. Oh, pretty good. 232. Yay. Okay, I will see you all. Hopefully, I see everybody who's on the screen next week in the training room for stats.